Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Hello. Oh, I'm still a stuffed animal.
Shoot.
There we go.
I hope it worked right to get people to the right channel, but hold on.
Yeah, we got people moved to the right channel here.
Okay, yeah, I saw a couple of people popping over before you closed down.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
Okay.
Everything's working. We can hear you. They can hear me. I could hear myself before I muted the stream.
Yeah, it's again, I had it running. I was getting it from two sounds, and I had to find which other tab it was opening.
I got 20 links open. I can't figure out where the hell the music's coming from.
Always.
Well, I do believe there was a request as for one song before I left. So I guess
Okay.
while we're waiting things, I'll fulfill that request here. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. A hole. Then patch it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then patch it, dear Henry. Then patch up the hole. With what shall I patch it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I patch it, dear Liza? With what? With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry. With straw. The straw is too long, dear Liza, dear Liza. The straw is too long, dear Liza, too long. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, cut it. With what shall I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I cut it, dear Liza? With what? A knife, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. A knife, dear Henry, dear Henry. A knife. The knife is too dull, dear Liza, dear Liza. The knife is too dull, dear Liza, too dull. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry. Sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza? With what? A stone, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. A stone, dear Henry, dear Henry. A stone. The stone is too dry, dear Liza, dear Liza. The stone is too dry, dear Liza, too dry. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry. Wet it. With what shall I wet it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I wet it, dear Liza? With what? With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With water, dear Henry, dear Henry. With water. With what shall I fetch it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fetch it, dear Liza? With what? With a bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry. A bucket. But there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. A hole. But not to worry. He peed on a stone, and sharpened his knife, cut his straw, and patched his bucket. But the water never quite tasted the same again.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how you use straw to patch a bucket, but
Neither do I, but that's how the song goes.
Yeah. It's something I've always wondered about when I've heard that song. Okay, well, we were scrambling up to the last minute, so I am hoping that our guests are going to, get the link and get in here soon.
Well, my guess was maybe some of the original lyrics were maybe a hole in the basket, but that doesn't follow with some of the other stuff in the song either. But I don't know.
Yeah, because would you be using a basket? Well, I suppose that, yeah, they did use baskets to carry water. I'm not sure what they sealed them with so there weren't gaps between the straws. Oh,
Let's see, where am I with my Tullamore Dew? I'm about 3/4. That's where I'm at.
with what?
My Tullamore Dew honey.
Oh,
I've been taking small sips of it throughout the entire thing. Great for the throat.
yep.
Little
Yeah,
trick.
well, I had thrown in your side chat there the recipe for Pioneer cough syrup.
Little trick. When you doing any drinking, especially if you're doing drinking where you don't want to get drunk, take a small sip of your alcohol, and follow it with a small sip of water. And don't go overboard on the alcohol.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about alcohol is it's all about moderation. Unfortunately, one of the effects of alcohol is that your definition of moderation tends to change the more of it you have.
Well, that's usually why I set usually a hard limit at 2. Though I wouldn't be drinking 2 if I'm doing a live stream like this. I'm sticking to just 1.
Yeah, Dr. Tapiocaweasel, we're really just trying to fly here and not sure what's going on, but yeah, I welcome you jumping in. Where's the best place to send you a link? Yes, you're drinking to not get drunk. That, sometimes people just want a little bit just to kind of mellow out, but not lose control.
Yep. In my case, I was actually doing it to help with my throat, so I don't have gunk in my throat while I'm singing.
Ah, that's the wrong link.
Yeah. Guess I can do more singing. Yeah, blue skies gonna clear up. Put on a happy face. Yeah. Or actually, in one version of the song I had in mind, saying that I didn't quite get to on thing. Those crabs are gonna clear up. Sit on a happy face. I'm sure gonna cheer up when you sit on my happy face and spread those legs all over the place and sit on a happy face. You came in just in time and for my song.
Hello.
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 Thanks for coming. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this hour right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who just kind of I live moment by moment with certain long-term goals, but none for tonight because yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep the anxiety down, but this happens every year that we have a couple streams that don't go off as planned, and we need to
for sure
somehow fill in at the last minute.
Absolutely. So what's going on? I only showed up I don't know, 5 minutes ago, so I don't actually know.
Well, Christy Santiago and Grace Skeptic were supposed to be doing an hour, from the Leah podcast here. But there was some communication errors on how it was doing it,
Okay.
and apparently neither of them actually know how to set up a YouTube link themselves. That not just their producer and takes care of that.
Well,
But
no problem.
yeah, but since we have the time difference with Australia, we weren't able to get a hold of him in time to do that.
Well, it's no problem. Even if you couldn't get this stream set up, I could have easily got another hour.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, if you need somebody like I can, I've never streamed before. I've never done it. But like I don't have any plans for the rest of the evening, and I can if you need me to. I can stream. Like I could start figuring out how to do it like right now. I think that there's probably a way that I can press a YouTube thing, and there's another thing that presses like start stream. But I don't know.
You know, I think the worst thing that happens is if we can waste an hour here until Claire and Wrecker are ready, I think the rest of it should flow smoothly after that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what's been going with you, Dr. Weasel? Is it Dr. Tapioca or Dr. Weasel? What do you prefer?
I don't have a preference. I'm quite flexible with a variety of names. Like professionally at work, I obviously I don't go by Tapiocaweasel. That would be remarkably silly, unless I were like an artist or something. But I'm not. I go by Vandy. Like my name is Michael, Michael Vandegraff, which is where Vandy comes from. And I've actually gone by that professionally since I started graduate school, and sort of a little bit in undergrad, but everybody who I work with knows me exclusively as Vandy, which is like a choice that I made.
Okay, well, Jyuni is saying she can drop in, so okay, Jyuni, I sent you a link on Blue Sky.
But it's been a nice holiday. I'm not going home this year. Last year I went home, so it's been really nice to have this stream to go to and put on or join. This is the third slot that I have joined and been a part of the actual stream.
Yep.
So
There's been a lot of people doing that through the day. That
yeah.
They hear for a stream or two, and then they go and do their family stuff for a couple hours and come back.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, so it goes until I think it goes until like 2 a.m. my time tomorrow or something. It's not too far because I'm Pacific time, so I'm fairly near the end of it, but not the absolute.
Yeah, I think it's actually goes to 3 a.m. in California.
Okay, yeah.
That the last show starts at 2 a.m. and runs for an hour from there.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. That's why I would see 2 a.m.
Yep. Oh, all in all, we've done pretty well here. There's been a couple of glitches, but there's been lots of people being helpful to, step up and take care of things, even when one of them happened while I was napping. So,
yeah.
Somebody just filled in the hole anyway, so.
I mean, yeah, fantastic.
It's great that we really have, such a great community of people, helping each other out, mutually supporting one another.
Cheers to that.
Yep. So anyone who says online friends don't count,
right,
has no idea what we have here.
I had a conversation with my therapist for the first time since I don't know exactly, but like roughly April, because she let me know that she had to like stop seeing patients for a while because she had things come up. Turns out it was a form of leukemia. and I had a conversation with her for the first time a few months ago. And like, we used to talk about my relationships, like my interpersonal relationships, all of the time. And it was sometimes difficult to like, I don't know, communicate how real those relationships are.
Yeah.
It was really good to hear from her again. I don't know why I juxtaposed those two topics like that. That was really dumb.
No, I had the same thing, with explaining it all to my therapist, that I have a very supportive community, but I only knew one person that actually lived in the same city.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anybody who lives super close to me. There
Well,
might
that's
be.
because I brought Sloth Girl with me.
Yeah.
Oh, Jyuni is live even.
Hey,
Not
camera.
just the avatar. Hey.
Right? It's very realistic looking.
I mean, that the motion capture is really superb there.
For sure.
It looked like your lips were even moving in time with your voice and everything.
Yeah. Oh geez. Well, you get 5 seconds of this, so 5, 4, 3,
You're
2,
looking
1.
good. You definitely have a new look since last time I saw you.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm sorry, I've kind of been away for a long time. Work has been getting in the way of a lot of things, but I guess more hours the better.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this society, you need a lot of money just to be able to afford to have a place to live and food.
Definitely the place to live. Because compared to last Christmas, we all know, or some of us know where I've been at.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you've been struggling through very difficult times, so I'm glad that your situation has at least somewhat improved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same here.
well, we'll have to see within the next month or so and see where things are at. But if I can make it another 3 months, then I've officially been made it a year here, which has been great. I've been meaning to do a housewarming kind of thing for everybody to see, but so here's my place.
Yep.
Yeah, nice little Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's pretty spacious either way. But how is everybody? I know there's been some technical difficulties, and I kind of wish I had at least an hour slot to help out with this, but
Well, we've got an hour here, so we just need to find things to talk about.
mhm.
Oh, there's always things to talk about. I mean, technical difficulties. I don't know if you guys deal with a lot of those in IRL, but we had some crazy technical difficulties at the lab a few weeks ago that I could totally go into nauseating detail about. Just saying. But
Yeah, but
that
would
requires
anybody-
me to be interested randomly in my laboratory flooding.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if anybody here would understand what you were talking about going into labs.
What I'm talking about is a giant pipe bursting and a lot of electronic equipment.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
It's very simple.
yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, computers don't like getting wet.
No, they don't. Turns out they don't. And the pipe that burst, guess what room it burst in? The server room.
Oh.
The server room in the physics and astrophysics building at Stanford University had a pipe burst in the ceiling, and 10 out of the 17 server racks apparently totally fried.
Oh.
Not ideal. But what happened after that happened was it started just spraying water, many, many, many gallons of water out. And eventually, it, flooded that room, and then it goes out into the hallway, and then it starts to go into, all of the labs in there, and then eventually it starts to come down the elevator shaft and down the stairwell. like this took a hot second to find the source and turn it off. And we're talking about like a lot of water gushing. And all of the grad students and faculty people and postdocs and everybody is there just being like, we need sandbags. We don't keep sandbags on hand. So we're just like anything that's like large and flat and you can like scrape along the ground. We're just using to like funnel all of this water into the bathrooms, because when it came down to the sub basement, they're like drains in the floor, but they're always sealed because they're just like exposed just to sewage, and that's nasty. And we didn't have the tool to open them at the time. So we had to just funnel it into the bathroom, because the bathroom has a drain in the floor. And for hours we're doing this. We're just like, water is coming down and we're taking like, I was using like a large floor mat sort of thing, but it's stiffer than that. It was horrible. But our lab did not have any equipment affected. We were able to keep all of the water away by keeping it in the hallway and shoveling it, basically.
Sounds like
very
Okay. I don't think we're going to blame a water pipe on the weasels. They usually just chew on the electrical cables.
Yeah. Apparently, like there was an email being like, you have to evacuate because there's a lot of electrical equipment. Which, yes, there was, but we were all like, the risk of electrocution is lower than the risk of my career being destroyed because of this. So,
Okay, was the pipe burst by somebody using magnets too near to it?
not to my knowledge. You know, I'm here out of my own free will. I don't know why you have to drive me away like that.
No, it was a question from the audience, that's all.
That reminds me of a traumatic thing that I accidentally did last year, was flooding the office. And it was, I left the sink on because I was trying to fill up like this like ultrasonic machine to sterilize the instruments and help clean them, right?
Yeah.
But I left it on and went to attend to a patient for about an hour and a half. And by the time I got back to it, one whole side of the office was like flooded in water.
Did they not notice? Did nobody else notice? Was it like a vacant office?
No, but I guess it just happened to be the day where nobody on that side was working.
Okay, because like the thing about that is everybody knows how to like stop that problem from getting acutely worse by turning off the thing. It took a while to track down exactly which valve had to be turned to turn off this source.
Gosh.
And if this had happened, this happened on the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. If it had happened on the Thursday of Thanksgiving week, I mean, there was a reason I went into work on Thanksgiving. I needed to have somebody have eyes inside the lab because
it seems like a good time to just turn the main off to the whole building.
Yes, the problem is that there are multiple different independent water like systems. Because like there's the main sort of water system for like, I don't know. I don't know how all of this works, but for like drinking water and stuff. Then there's also a system that is connected to like HVAC stuff, particularly in places like the server room or something. I guess that might be its own independent system. That's not totally clear. But then there's definitely another system which is independent for the processed chilled water that goes to all the labs. Like that's what we use like as cooling water for our lab equipment. There's like just pipes in the room that are specifically like, we're going to give people water to like use for stuff, but they don't like, it's a closed system. You have to give it back.
Yeah. It's like a reverse radiator system to take the heat away.
Exactly. Because there's a lot of equipment, like we have a few lasers that you need to provide a water link up to, because the parts inside can get really hot. And then also we run a lot of high current through copper coils, and we have water cooled plates connected to those. So those sorts of things.
Yeah, I've watched YouTube videos that, even some of the people that are building high-end gaming machines, have liquid cooling systems in them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Which there's a bunch of do-it-yourself videos for that, and I'm like, do you really want to do it yourself when it involves running water inside your computer?
Yes, but I think those things actually might come pre-filled. Like, I don't know if you actually have to do anything involving actual water.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's filled. Although it's still like the whole idea of like liquid cooling anything inside a computer, or even like batteries, for an example, like, or anything electrical, just like mind-boggling to me.
Oh, yeah. So in grad school, we would run extremely high current through copper coils to generate high magnetic fields inside, which is hilarious given, everything about me. But these were copper coils, but they were hollow, and we pumped water while running electricity through them. Water was always being pumped actively through these coils. And it's because, like, water is actually not a great conductor compared to, copper. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you've got distilled water, it hardly conducts electricity at all.
Yeah.
It's the mineral content, the minerals suspended in the water that really conduct.
This would have minerals, so, like, that's definitely a problem, because there's a lot of copper and a lot of brass and probably a fair amount of steel and aluminum just overall in the system. If it were all just brass, that'd be way better, but then you can't run them through copper coils. So actually, it's definitely not distilled water.
Well, from my understanding, the reason why they would use water coolant is it's just more efficient for cooling it than what you would normally use for, like, with fans and stuff.
Well, the water can take heat away a lot faster than the fans.
I'm saying it's more efficient.
Water has like a crazy high heat capacity. It's really pretty nuts. Like, of all the stuff that you sort of encounter day to day, it's by far the most common thing, like, with really high heat capacity.
Well, and fans can only bring the inside of the computer down to the room temperature. If you've got tubes of cold water, it'll keep taking the heat away until the water is up to the same temperature.
Yes, but that does happen, and if you're running a computer with a high thermal load because you're running, let's say you're benchmarking it constantly, you've got Prime 95 just constantly running, or you're gaming, then that's also going to eventually be the same. The reservoir is the environment. It's always the environment. And water coolers do not work by, like, hooking up to a sink. It's they use the water to carry the heat from a thing to, like, a highly efficient, like, fan system.
Yeah. Yeah, but it has to have a radiator someplace else with fans to disperse the heat that it's collected.
Yeah. I might get like the PC that I use, I got in 2019, and it was a steal. I got it for like a third of what it could have been charged for, and it's like a good machine that I've been able to use this whole time, but eventually it too will pass. And I might get like some water or liquid cooling in my next one. But I get like an all-in-one sort of thing, where I literally just, like, it has a plate on this end and like a thing on this end, and there are tubes, and Yeah, you plug it in because I don't want to do plumbing. I don't.
Yeah, well,
I've had to do it in the lab. It's not fun.
in the DIY ones, I was seeing a lot of them that, that they had the water reservoir outside of the computer. So then they had to hook up hoses and things, running inside the computer.
Yeah.
So that's the part. It's like if you're not real careful, I mean, if you've got even a tiny pinhole leak, that you're going to have water spraying on some chip inside the computer.
Yep.
That would be a major problem.
Certainly. It turns out that if you buy the right stuff and you put it together after doing some fairly cursory research and how to use, if there's a fastener, if you're in my lab and you have no idea how the fasteners that we use for the various water connections work, if you've never used swage lock before in my lab and you have no idea how the fasteners that we use for the various water connections work, if you've never used swage lock before in my lab and you have no idea how the fasteners that we use for the various water connections work, that's funny. If you've never used swage lock,
well, I've been doing household plumbing for 45 years or so now, and it's like the problem is every 10, 20 years they come up with a completely new system. So I have to keep, learning the different kinds of connections. I mean, I've gone from the days of all you had was string together steel pipes to now they have these PEX things that you need a special tool to close the clamps on.
That's why you should use swage lock for everything, because
I'm not sure what a swage lock is.
But if we're talking plumbing, we might as well be talking plum pudding.
Is that a physics joke?
Well, plum is 90 degrees to level, so plum, I guess, would imply a vertical earth.
A vertical.
I'm thinking of pudding earth, right? Wouldn't that be a pudding earth?
Plum pudding. That was the model of the atom that Rutherford used, I think. I don't know.
What
That
did you
wasn't
say?
a physics joke. It's like figgy pudding and all that.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a physicist.
Oh, physicist. Nice.
Yeah, he is professional scientist.
Yeah, it turns out they'll let anybody do it.
Well,
What?
I was in a hurry, so I didn't think about that bringing you in, but it really kind of violates the spirit of my channel to have somebody in here who knows what they're talking about.
I mean,
there.
that's why you gotta keep on asking me questions on things I don't know what I'm talking about. The classical example is, of course, magnets.
Yeah, we won't dwell on just that one, though.
Obviously nobody knows how those work.
Yeah.
And I
Certainly
won't go on
not
about
how
my
all of them
cats
work.
too much because that could, be problematic for Mousy.
Did Stephanie freeze?
That tends to happen to her a lot, I'm afraid.
So your dad is the new avatar for her.
That would make a good avatar for her.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
didn't freeze. Am I frozen?
Yeah,
You're frozen.
Your video is.
Your
We can
video.
still
is.
hear you fine, but
No,
your
it's
video's not moving.
Well, no, I just disappeared. I took myself off screen.
Nope. We still see you.
We see a still picture of you. You didn't
Oh.
manage to do the fade this time.
Oh, I did do the fade. But it's on the YouTube side. Apparently.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
Nope. I see you frozen on the YouTube side.
I wish magnets were a hoax.
I don't know if it's like an Apple thing, but I keep on going in and out. But then again, I'm fiddling a lot with some things, and I shouldn't probably be touching anyways.
That's why I have a lab. I don't mess with all the little nuts and bolts of my settings here, because if I do, then Sunday's going to come around and I'm not going to be able to like stream for Bad Science Sunday. And Maya is I mean, I don't want to deal with that, right? I don't want to deal with making Maya upset because that never ends well. Chat knows what's up. So, but at the lab, well, I guess I also don't want to break things there, but I know how to not break things there, so it's fine.
Was it
That's
magnets
pretty
that caused
cool.
Was it magnets that caused the plumbing issue? That's my
Not
guess.
as far as I know. As far as I know, it was just like this particular joint was just like, no, fuck it, I'm done. As one does. All I got.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm occupied in another tab here for a minute trying to.
I mean, fair enough.
Hey, you got to do you. And Purple, have you gotten any sleep at all? Or are you just all the way
I've
through?
gotten 2 3-hour naps in the last about 48 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get a little bit of nap in after this, so I can be ready for my stream at 4 a.m.
I mean,
Oh,
wait,
there you
what
go.
time zone are you in? Like, what time is it now for you?
Me?
Yeah.
It's 9:42 right now.
Oh, okay. I mean, because for me, it's only 6:43.
Okay. Yeah, I got the garden tapping thing and then the position 27 there on the roster. Last before the wrap up.
Yeah, like I'm not even like on the schedule because I don't make content. So
yeah, I'll be talking about the poinsettia.
my
Nice.
mom loves poinsettias.
Yeah,
The
well,
flowers.
it'd be good
I don't know if that's what we're talking
good stream
about.
for you. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The plant.
Oh, okay, cool.
See, I just learned that they were like a tropical flower, which kind of doesn't make sense for like up here and in like the upper Midwest, like when people get them, but they do last quite a long
And
time.
as a Christmas flower in particular, yeah, that's weird.
I'll be going over. I'll be going over how it got associated with Christmas and got popular and all that.
Yeah, I kind of know the story of, how it got to be a Christmas thing, but
I'll save that for my stream now.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
It's like the holly and the ivy and all.
I haven't heard of it, so like I'd be happy to learn.
Well, I mean, I'd say we should go into it now, but then that would like undercut the entire stream later. So what we should
That'd
do
ruin it for
instead,
Mage.
we should find another topic to like nerd out on.
Yeah,
What do you guys?
Mage will be broadcasting that from his gardening channel at 3 a.m. Central Time.
Yep, gardens happen.
Dude, the whole time I was like fighting the flood, I was like, I wish we could just like suck this water out and just, put it into the sewer outside. But we can't because 1, we didn't have any PVC pipe long enough. 2, we didn't have anything that was going to pump it like hard enough. And 3, because you can only lift water up 32 feet before you just can't anymore. A vacuum isn't powerful enough. And that made me think about capillary action, which is why the whole plant thing brought this up. My mind is it's a convoluted hot mess. Okay, I've only got 1 cubic centimeter of brain space up here. That's how weasels do. Sorry.
No, that's just, the creative mind does not run well in linear thought.
I don't know that I count as a creative mind, though.
Oh, I think you have to be, to be doing any kind of research work. You've got to approach something from an angle that no one else has thought of before.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's not. It depends on the richness of the topic, I suppose, because if you have a new enough and unexplored enough and fertile enough field to talk about, you can really just kind of go out in any direction and find something that you'll be able to publish. It might not be groundbreaking, but people expect everything to be groundbreaking, and that's unreasonable. Most stuff is going to be routine by fucking definition, right? Like, if everything is groundbreaking, that you've redefined what groundbreaking is, and suddenly most of that stuff isn't anymore.
Well, and a lot of science is actually rather boring. It's duplicating somebody else's experiment to verify if you get the same result.
Yes, you should make sure that you're on the same page and that your equipment is working and doing all of the stuff the right way before you suddenly claim with numbers and receipts that you're ostensibly providing to back it up. Like, you can't provide those receipts if you haven't actually done the work to make sure that you understand and can reproduce well accepted stuff. Like, if it's a brand new result and you're the first laboratory to try and do it and you can't reproduce it, maybe that's real and the work you're trying to reproduce wasn't done properly.
Yeah.
But it's something
that wasn't quite the same as the original experiment.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things in all of science is the leap of imagination.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying that it does take a creative mind.
Yes.
I'm saying is the invention, the imagination required to come up with solving the problem of the speed of light being a constant.
Yeah.
And making
how
the
to measure
entire universe and making the entire universe into incorporating time as a fourth dimension. Four-dimensional space. I mean, that's fucking amazing how you come up with that kind of intuition, and that
totally is
imagination there.
And the speed of light is a fantastic example in the history of science for so many reasons. One, because it's easy to understand. Like, light is real fast, but it's not infinitely fast, and it took us a while to figure that out, and then it took us longer to figure out exactly how fast it goes. Two, it's been something that people have thought about for a long time and showed some very interesting insights. Three, it's something that can be accessed both locally, or astrophysically and astronomically. And four, it demonstrates some sociological details and limitations of the scientific method that, if not accounted for, can be a big problem, like herding of results. Because for a long time, people were converging on some value of the speed of light, and then somebody was like, actually, no, I measured it to be this very different thing. And every measurement after that was up at that new value, but with more spread, because it was right. It's a fascinating case study. The first demonstration of the speed of light, the first calculation of it, was done by a dude who was looking at the orbits of the moons of Jupiter or something as Earth went around the sun. And he basically took Galileo and was like, well, over here the Earth is here, and over here the Earth is here. And we see this weird time lag of 16 minutes in when the moons appear, and if light travels at a finite speed, that would explain it. Amazing.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I'm sorry, I just like
Yeah, well, no, and a lot of it too is, do you have a way to measure something on that scale? And if you don't, can you come up with some kind of device that lets you do that?
yeah, exactly. Like so locally, how do you measure the speed of light? It's real hard. It goes real fast. It's not like you can it's not like you can like take just a lantern and just go like this really fast with your hand and with like a distant mirror. It doesn't matter how far away the mirror is, it's not going to be good enough. You're going to have to do something more systematic. What they did was they basically did that, but instead of it being your hand moving, they had a disc. And the disc had a little window in it, or it might have had like, it would be like a block zone and then a light zone and then a block zone and then a light zone. And they would have it spin. And then over by the mirror, like 2 kilometers away, they had a similar disc that was also spinning or something like that. Actually, they might have only had it at the one side. And the light has to go all the way over there and come back. And if you're spinning it at the right speed, the signal will be blocked. And then if you speed it up a little more, you'll see it come back. And then if you speed it up more, you'll see it like get blocked again. And that's genius because you're using this really rapidly rotating thing, and then you can calculate how fast it's spinning.
See, this is why I never pass. I don't know if physicians physicists got anything to do with physics, but it sounds like it. But this is why I can never pass a physics class.
This right here.
This right
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
I can usually get the general concept, but once you start getting into the math and the actual mechanics, they usually get lost quickly.
I mean, you'll notice I have not mentioned any actual math. And the only mechanics I've mentioned is that it moves at a finite speed and can be blocked by stuff. This diagram, though, like, so helpful because if you don't have a diagram, you have to, like, construct the diagram by listening to me. And I'm a weasel, and I've been drinking. So it's not an ideal situation.
I'm good that way.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking's editor told him that for every calculation you include, you will cut your book sales by half. So he did ponder on whether or not the universe in a nutshell would have sold twice as many copies if he hadn't included E equals MC squared.
Oh, I don't think that one counts. I don't think that one counts.
No, it's just a joke he made in an interview.
It is, and it's a good one, but yeah, that one doesn't count. But it is like the thing is, if I were to write a book, I would just straight up like lie as much as I could and still do it with a straight face and sleep at night, which would be quite a lot, about how much math was in it. And then I would like make the math not necessary, but I would put it there anyway. Like there would be a lot of math and footnotes.
Yep.
Well, E equals MC squared has made it into animes. So Senku, he put it on his makeshift shirt.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
That's from the anime Dr. Stone. They start getting kind of off kilter in the later seasons. And, well, okay, let's just face it. They had a guy who could kill a lion with one punch, but
Yeah, well, you completely ruin superhero movies if you start putting physics into it.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with that anime is they're trying to do like real life physics, but be cartoon physics at the same time.
It's why I can't watch Ant-Man or the Wasp or anything because I think the quantum realm.
Oh yeah.
is a thing, and like I love bad science movies. I love The Core. The Core is a great movie. Terrible science. But like the quantum realm, like come on. What are you doing? What are we doing?
Can you think
Yeah,
of any
well-
good sci-fis that have good science in them?
It depends on. Frankly, Star Trek isn't that bad most of the time. Like, what if you mean good science? That's really hard to do.
Close to good.
So one book that I would recommend would be The Forever War. I think that's the name of it. It's a book that everybody describes it as being about the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War does not come up in this book. It's very clearly about the Vietnam War, though, because it's an allegory, and nowadays people would compare it to Interstellar because people go through wormholes and are like fighting an alien race. But the wormholes and the black holes, that's in Interstellar, not the alien race. Primer. I love the movie Primer. Primer is a film about time travel. It's a small independent film that I've watched less than 10 times, probably around like 6 or something. But if you were to ask me what is my favorite movie, I would say this movie because it takes seriously like a model of time travel, and it follows that to its logical, extremely confusing, very hard to capture in cinema conclusion. It follows it to that conclusion, but it's a great film.
I'm always interested in hearing people's favorite movies, so yeah, I'll have to check this one out.
Yeah.
Well, my current novel, I set myself a challenge to write a science fiction book that does not violate any of the laws of physics as we know them.
Well, that's so boring, though. You should violate a couple, in my opinion.
You can bend the rules, at least.
The whole point of it is that it takes decades to centuries to get between star systems.
Well, okay, you don't have to violate that one. Like, Orson Scott Card has done stuff where you have communication, but you don't have transport.
Yeah, actually, I am doing that. I took a kind of...
There we go. Yeah, see, because communication, without FTL communication, things become very tedious eventually to keep track of in a large network, and it's like international relations back before planes were invented.
Yeah, I did use a loophole. I have one alien who is actually an interdimensional being. So by being able to
is that like your neighbor, or is that you?
Basically, they can just run as a messenger. But even with that, the amount of power needed.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Are you not an interdimensional being?
No, I'm not interdimensional.
I always assumed you were.
No. 66.2 million years ago, aliens took some dinosaurs from Earth and put them in a wildlife preserve on another planet. We don't know what happened to the aliens, but I'm what evolved from those dinosaurs.
Fair enough. I thought you were interdimensional. That's my bad. I knew you were an alien.
This is just what would have happened to dinosaurs if that big asteroid hadn't hit them all. So, I evolved on another planet from ancestors originally from Earth.
Ah, I see.
I love the lore.
We got a lot of lore.
Every channel needs some good lore. Okay, we need to wrap up here.
Where are we going?
Wait a minute.
Just gotta confirm
Fort Claire, right?
Okay, yep.
Okay, they're live.
They are live?
Yep.
Okay, mine just came up with an error message. Okay, yeah, we're going over to Clearview and Ricker.
Wait,
for
does
a-
that mean that I'm no longer going to be the center of attention?
Yep, that's it for you.
I don't have the.
We've broken Vandy's heart over here.
Time, effort, counseling. I'm sure I'll get over it.
They're doing a New Jersey, New Zealand Christmas, so they are live now.
Beautiful.
Thank you, everybody. Thank all of you for helping me fill the hour here. And let me just in case somebody's not connecting right to it, let me get the link and put it here, and then we will shut this down.
Yeah, I don't have the mod ability. You'll have to do it here. I'm on my Mage's Media Musings account right now.
Yep. Okay. So there's the link to Claire's part of the stream. So we'll see you all over there. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See y'all.